Why does sex often feel so good in bad relationships? Whether on one end it's an empty relationship or on the other extreme, it's an abusive one. I have a thought. Okay, again, for you scientists out there, yes, sex in itself, in the blind sense, feels good. Just like food feels good where nothing else is right, biology at least feels right. But why is it that we often find ourselves in relationships where it's the only thing that feels any good at all? It's pretty frustrating. The cliche often is, the best sex we had was often with the worst kind of people in the worst relationships that weren't for us, and we know it. It drives us nuts. Today, people feel comfortable with the excuse of labeling it, well, he or she was a narcissist, so that's why the sex was good, and so they give an excuse to it. But I think we can uncover another truth here, which isn't just a convenient diagnosis that someone had a personality that made the sex good. I think that's too convenient. I think the sex feels good by comparison to the emptiness and the wrongness to the rest of the relationship. I think the sex is so good by contrast. I think the sex is fetishistically awesome, just like BDSM. It is not love. It's an oasis in the desert of the tedium or the pain or the abuse that you feel. In a sense, the sex is the only life and sustenance in the desert. It's akin to Stockholm Syndrome, where the captives are tortured, and when the torturers stop the torture, the reprieve is welcomed. You feel grateful. You feel relieved that the torture has stopped. And that safety and that gratitude feels like love. Thank you for stopping the pain. I think that's what sex is. It gets elevated far beyond what it is, because by contrast, the rest of the relationship or the person is so wrong. You feel relief, you feel safe, or you don't have to deal with the train wreck of everything else. It's a way of taking a vacation from what actually is your relationship, I think. So what do you calibrate yourself if not to sex? Which, when you look at it, for most men and women, it's about the only thing they have in common. Sad to say. Well, to quote one of my favourite philosophers and authors, Michael de Montaigne, he said, "If there is such a good thing as marriage, it is because it resembles friendship rather than love." And in a modern sense, you can replace marriage with relationship and love with sex, if you like. And especially in today's hookup culture, I don't think anyone really has a clue what love is. But we know what friendship is. We know what it looks like, and we know the values by which we can describe it. So I would say calibrate if you want a relationship with a female, a companionship, someone in your life other than sex. I would calibrate it towards friendship. Look for that. Sex is a given. It's so common that I don't even know why we elevate it so much. I think it's a desperate attempt to feel something because we don't know what anything else is. So calibrate yourself towards friendship in a person if you're looking for values or someone to actually have in your life, because friendship is closer to love than what sex is. We don't know what love is anymore. That's why we go towards the easy animalistic thing, which is sex. In short, find a great friend if you want to be monogamous. Look for the standards of a friend, not a sexual partner. A sexual partner is simply what your biology or your libido finds attractive. Biology only cares about sex. It doesn't care. It wants that and it'll throw you away. Then you'll be left with yourself. If that's all you care about, you'll waste your time forcing one-night stands and hookups into relationships. Because let's face it, there are so many people now searching for some kind of meaning, and especially meaning with people, which is friendship, loyalty, and trust. If you don't care about any of those things with a partner, all you're going to get is the hookup throwaway culture that we have now, but then afterwards you're left with yourself. Yeah, it's freedom, but if you don't know how to be alone, that freedom can look like torture. And yeah, sure, it's better to be alone than the freedom of the lobotomized hookup culture, where the only fuel they run on is sex and nothing else. And if you've got nothing else to fill up your own tank with, then I think it's something to think about. Especially if you're interested in going a certain way that's meaningful in life. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Do you think that when you look at the past of the good sex you have, it's almost always with the worst kind of person that wasn't for you? Does it frustrate you, especially if you consider yourself an intelligent person? And rather than just glibly kind of describing, oh, well, because she was a narcissist. And a character trait of narcissists is that they're nymphomaniacs and they're great in bed. May not be that. Maybe that just there was nothing right with them as a person, or you completely did not fit with them, your values didn't fit. And by contrast, decent or good sex was elevated to the best sex you've had in your life. By contrast alone. Because you don't want to acknowledge the elephant in the room, which was everything else there was meaningless. And biology was the only thing keeping you there. If you're not choosing your lovers for monogamous relationships, I think especially long-term, by values that you would choose your friends by, that is what you have, I think. Was sex the only safe space you had in that relationship, where you didn't have to think or experience the reality of something that was empty or abusive? Was the sex just the vacation from the train wreck of that relationship? I would say yes in most cases, especially when I think about my own past. Sex was just a safe space, so I wouldn't look at what was actually wrong. Staying in a bad marriage or a serious relationship just for the sex, to me, makes about as much sense as buying an airline just for the free peanuts. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think there's something to it? I'd be interested to see what you guys think. As always, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon and select all to be notified of my videos. When you hit the subscribe button, it helps YouTube share my videos around properly. Otherwise, my channel gets buried, and please share my videos around if you can. It helps me out. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. Comment down below. And if you feel like saying thank you, you can donate by the links below. And I'll talk to you soon, guys. I appreciate it. And don't forget to join me for this week's Q&A. I'll see you then. Bye.